Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot and welcome to your new moon readings for the new moon in Cancer, 10th of July GMT, like really early in the morning, 1 in the morning, so 9th of July for a lot of the rest of the world. Now, as ever, this is a bulk introduction. I'm going to discuss a little about the moon beforehand because, oh God, I've got so much to say. But there is a timestamp in the description down below if you want to fast forward to your reading or if you are watching more than one. Because I would say, as ever, watch your sun, your rising, and your moon, to be honest. But the moon one is sort of a more internal process, or at least one would assume. But the other thing with this is a general reading. General reading rules apply, so timing's not absolute. If someone else appears in the reading, you can get them mixed up because I'm seeing actions and energies. I don't put a lot of stock in that, but I can see how it can happen. But more importantly, what I would like you to do is ask a question. Now, if you don't have one yet, watch my little waffle about the moon, and that might inspire one. But if you are aware of one, pause the video if you need to. Think about all of the questions that are around you at the moment and focus on one of them. But be aware of all of them because cards will answer what they want. There's, obviously, as a YouTube channel, please hit that like button while you're here, or if you like my analysis of the moon and the new moon events, let's put it that way, then hit that subscribe button. There will be more and they are only going to get better because, as I say, I am not an astrologer. I am learning this stuff, but my God, it doesn't end and it's fascinating. So I want to thank you to all returning subscribers, and also point out that I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher about the astrology from a Hellenistic, with David from a Hellenistic astrology point of view. And just remember, it's a general reading I'm about to do here. Don't give away your power. If the reading is for you, which there's a past and a present always, well, actually this time it's more of just a present. But if the present doesn't fit, don't try and make it fit. Now, this time I've been led to use the Steampunk Tarot. Now, I've actually got 3 decks called the Steampunk Tarot, but this is a big box one from Tuttle by John and Caitlin Matthews. And the more I work with this particular deck, the more interesting it gets because it's got elements of, whereas the in-between tarot has sort of the space in between each card, this one, the minor arcana seem to be combinations, like a combination of wands and pentacles, or a combination of cups and swords, or a combination of the other 2 ways of doing it, which my brain's gone completely blank for a second there. But anyway, like I say, if you're wanting to get a personal reading from me, there is a link in the Facebook, in the description, a link for the Facebook page down below. Let's get my words in order. You can contact me there directly because it has got an inbox. There's a link tree down there if you prefer another way. Facebook's really the best way to do it. Right, let's get on about this moon. You'll have to forgive me. I'm going to stop looking at the camera. I'm not used to having it quite so close. So as I look at the screen, you're going to really notice the difference. So this new moon is occurring in 18 degrees Cancer, 18 degrees and 1 minute. So there's an element of numerology 9, rebirth, or at least I always see 9 as rebirth. If you think about how you collapse numbers in numerology, the 9 always disappears, but it's always there. It never really leaves. It's like this supreme force behind each number. Now, 18 degrees Capricorn is within the arc of the angel Yael, or the Goetic spirit Ipos. Let me just change pages so I've got the notes up here, and of course I haven't written anything about Epos. That was clever of me. But by day it is ruled by the Goetic spirit Gujon, or by night Vual. Now Vual reveals the past, the present, and the future. You know, he reconciles enemies and brings love to a relationship. In medieval, wonderfully sexist speak, it says the love of a woman to a man. He creates friendships and ensures esteem. He knows all and can manipulate time. That I'm, if you've seen my videos before, you know I'm fascinated with what time is on a spiritual level as well as a physics level and everything. Now, the themes that I'm pulling from this new moon, you know how I say that I don't like doing relationship readings. Well, astrology and this new moon has told me to wind my neck in, because this new moon's very much about partnerships. It's in Cancer, it's about the home and family, but it's all forms of partnerships. So between you and a significant other, between you and your friends, between you and your rulers, elected representatives, however you want to say it. And there's a lot of themes about research, and this is all seen in the symbols for 18 degrees Cancer. But just in having a look at the partnerships theme to start off with, in the Astrology Hub podcast, Anne Ortley pointed out that Juno, the wife of Jupiter, the planet of marriage vows, you know, among other things, is retrograde at the moment and is on the South Node. So traveling in the same direction as the South Node. It's funny that Jupiter's gone retrograde, but Juno was already there. Jupiter's there, going back, chasing after her. And Anne said that this would indicate that there could be quite a few partnerships coming to an end. There's more on that, because Saturn is opposite the asteroid Hera, who, again, that's the Greek form of Juno. So again, there's the matter of vows and marriage and loyalty, opposing Saturn, where Saturn is strong and likes to say no. So there's that element of, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. This vow, this contract, this agreement, it's not serving us. We need to do it differently. Now, I'm not saying that that means things are coming to an end, just the way things have been going so far is coming to an end. That can be good. It doesn't necessarily mean a massive breakup, because Chiron, is it still in Aries or is it in Taurus? I think it's in Taurus now. Let me just check with my chart that's up. I'm sure it's in Taurus. Yes, it is. Right, so Chiron in Taurus is parallel. Now, parallels work like a conjunction. Chiron in Taurus is parallel Orpheus and Vesta. So there's wounding and healing and instruction to be had regarding the matters of unrequited love with Orpheus, and diving into the underworld, of course. And with Vesta, matters about the home. And you need to check the other astrologer videos about, especially Anastasia, Cosmic Astrologer, for a real in-depth look at Vesta during this new moon period. Sappho. Now, Sappho was a poet in ancient Greece, and she was a servant of Aphrodite. She's, as an asteroid, is very much about artistic abilities, sexual expression, and in Aquarius, Sappho likes to shock. Now, bear in mind that this, for the shock element, this Mars square Uranus, although the actual square is fading now, it's like 3.5 degrees going on 4 degrees arc, Mars is still parallel. So there's that Mars conjunct Uranus energy going on through the parallel. And we saw, wasn't it, January the 6th, that was Mars conjunct Uranus. So there's certainly energy for one partner to shock another. But with Chiron's presence with the Orpheus and Vesta, this can be a a healing thing. That healing thing is also we are enveloped. Um, Apollo, I forget what sign Apollo is because I haven't written it down here. But Apollo is opposing Aesculapia, which I'm assuming represents Aesculapius. So there's the god of healing, and then his, I think he's Asclepius, sorry, is his grandson. And he was given to be the earthly expert on healing by Apollo. So with those opposing one another, they're both working towards healing, and I don't think that they're actually working at odds against one another. They are enveloping the whole zodiac in a way of creating the opportunity for some healing. Now, if we look at the symbols, the Sabian symbol, Cancer 19, because 18 degrees Cancer is the 19th degree of Cancer, a priest performing a marriage ceremony. And it talks about the ritualization of productive interpersonal relationships. But also, another interpretation that I was reading talks about how marriage is, in a way, a tool of civilization to promote some form of conformity. Civilization promotes conformity to bring all facets of light into alignment. Before civilization began to take shape, there weren't any priests, ceremonies, or contracts for sexual relations. Civilization actually, by its very nature, promotes conformity, and it can create bondage and deny individuality. It is structured by laws and moral codes with penalties. So this is something that you can take advantage of, or here may well be something that will get challenged with that Mars-Uranus energy, because it's interesting that Mars being semi-sextile the moon, they can't officially see one another when they're next to one another like that. So it's quite possible that they will be working not necessarily at cross purposes, but pursuing totally different agendas. Now, I also want to say that there's a big note about research. Let me see, the Charabel degree is a man with a very old looking book before him. It has the appearance of Sonic Ancient Record. I think that might be a misprint here that I've got, but that's what it says, Sonic Ancient Record. But the book denotes a studious person, and 18 degrees Cancer, if you have that in your chart. It can denote a studious person, a profound thinker, one capable of grappling with abstruse studies. And it's study for the sake of study rather than study in order to publish or to be heard or to be a renowned expert. But there's a lot of expertise getting unleashed. This is backed up by the Kosminski degree symbol, which is an old man sitting alone in semi-darkness with an old book before him from which emanate bright rays of light. So there's this search for the truth within this 18 degrees Cancer degree, which I think is absolutely beautiful and very, very needed, especially during this time where partnerships and agreements are, well, astrologically under pressure. But if you look at the relationship of the moon to the rulers, the south node is being ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is strong at the moment. It's in Pisces, it's at home, but it's starting to move retrograde. It's like the last gasp of this period of Jupiter in Pisces. And that implies, I think we'll be discussing this with David, but it implies that leadership can be doubted, that that there can be a lot of force from the people of wanting to know the true facts, but again with a healing level, because I've just noticed as I'm going through this, the Safarial degree symbol, now I don't know what that first word is, and escutcheon Right, I don't know what an escutcheon is. I'm assuming it is some form of shape containing a harp and a gauntlet. Now, I'm really drawn to that harp because that's the symbol of Apollo. That's the symbol that Apollo uses. Okay, that's with his music, but harp, lyre, it's reinforcing that influence of Apollo. And Apollo is also a god of truth, which reinforces those other degree symbols I was saying. So here, the Sapphire degree symbol says it denotes a person of noble aspirations and refined tastes. As an interpreter of others' works, he would shine. In the character, there is a particular mixture of gentleness and irritability, of playfulness and gravity, which can render the native of this degree more difficult to deal with. So that's from a natal interpretation, but we're seeing this same vibration of let's get to the truth, let's check all the agreements, and let's cancel the ones that are useless and cancel the ones that are rubbish. Now, if that has not, because I could talk for a lot longer about this, but if that has not given you fuel for a question, if you didn't have one already, then well, I don't know what will. Because we're always, it's human nature, isn't it? Is this partnership good for me? Whether it's between us and our employer, our partner, our leaders. I mean, hell, we get to test that ever so often, hopefully, while voting rights, well, when voting rights are available. So ask your question, take that moment. Thank you very much for watching so far and watching my blurb. And if you have any comments on the reading or on the astrology aspect, well, astrology, then comment down below. I always try to respond as fast as I can, so you get a response within a day. Anyway, I think I've talked for long enough. I'll bring up the cards. Okay, Virgo, the message of this reading seems really, really clear. Just to talk you through the cards, we start with the Four of Submersibles or Four of Cups as where you are at the moment, being opposed by the Emperor. The Spirit is bringing in the regeneration machine, or that's basically the Last Judgment. And we have the Seven of Submersibles, Seven of Cups, grounding the situation, and you are feeling hurt with the Three of Swords. Now, the rest I will talk about during the reading, but it strikes me, excuse me, it strikes me that you've received some guidance that, well, to be honest, you don't really like it. It's being one of those sort of, it's been made plainly obvious where you need to go, what you need to do. And you don't like it because I'm assuming there's a letting go of things in that process. There's, it hurts. Knowing that this thing is the right thing to do hurts. It's, so that's not telling you anything that you don't already know, because you've been frustrated with the current situations. You're plumbing the depths of the current situation, whatever it is. And there's not exactly a lot appearing on the view screen here. But let's be honest, any chance you have of moving forward right now appears to be being blocked. Being blocked by either institutions or just somebody really stubborn saying, no, you're not doing that. And so therefore, if you're not doing that, you need to go and do something else. And you know you need to go and do something else, but you don't really want to, you're scared of losing what it is that you've been working on. But Spirit is saying, oh, Spirit is saying, doesn't matter, get on with it, you know, to be quite honest. Because there is a whole new overhaul of you in this. If you follow this guidance, there's a whole new overhaul of your life. Now we start from the enchanted map, as you may have noticed in the shuffle video. 4 cards fell out and decided they all felt like I didn't want to abandon any of them. So I've kept the lot, and we start with the rock bottom card. Now that says 2 things to me. I mean, 1, no, it can't get any worse. But 2, what I really want to say is I think you've got through to the foundations of this situation that you're in. And there has been some truths that you have been brought to face with the guidance that, yeah, these truths are the things that hurt. Because obviously you would put some stock in whatever it is, but you're not making any progress right now and you're quite frustrated. So it is time for a different approach. It is actually time to get up and start moving. You've had your you've had your healing time recently. 4 of swords here, 4 of airships. You've had your respite, and this situation, while it's not been advancing any, has given you that chance to, well, get your head back together or rest or heal from something else that had gone on beforehand, whatever it was, to get some, okay, that's an image that could go both ways, but to get some clear air in your head rather than lots of noise, lots of ifs, buts and maybes. But the guidance here has been saying, come on, you plumbed the depths as much as you can. You're bored now. You need to move on. Because what you was wanting to do ain't going to happen. There is no way. I'm feeling a real strong Saturn with this Emperor card here. And I'm not even necessarily sure it's a person, although it could easily be. But like I say, it could be rules, an institution, legislation, even a lack of funds, or interestingly, the wrong locality. And that's also brought to mind by this 5 of submersibles, 5 of cups, in your hopes and fears position. There's something that you don't want to lose, something that you don't want to let go of. But let's be honest, you have plenty of options about how to move forward. And you only need to move forward slowly, but you do need to start moving forward. And the fact is that right now you are being encouraged to dream, because, and I know that sounds awful after what I've just said, but your old dream is not going anywhere. So you need a new one. And it's time we have Field of Dreams here, which is all about taking the time to go, well, if I can't do this, what can I do? That could be fun. That could be good. That would have a lot of good effect. And work your way through all the options, which are one after another slowly being presented to you. But there is movement from the Energy Oracle. We have the Yin Yang card. So upright, not that I ever use them reversed, but upright, this card says adopt the yin energy, be receptive, so listen to things. And what it's asking you to listen to is the journey card. So the description of this card, as I remember, it starts with, pack your bags up, it's time to go. Now, if your question is about relationships or what have you, there's only you can answer that. But if this is a relationship reading, which I rather hope it isn't, because you should know not to go for relationship readings from my channel. But if it is, it is time to go. But that could just as easily mean it's a job, or just as easily mean that there is a call to somewhere else. And since there is a call to somewhere else, you have to have a look at how you are progressing where you are at the moment. And I'm assuming there's an element of you being happy where you are because you don't want to lose it, and receiving this guidance hurts. But with this field of dreams and then into the unknown, which I always feel is a really cheerful card. Um, it's it's fun. It's got a wonderful air of mystery. It really implies. I mean, like today, looking at this blindfolded woman, fortunately going away from the balcony with the blindfold on, reminds me with her pale skin and dark clothes of Sandman and Death and Destiny and all the endless of Neil Gaiman's creation. Which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a TV series coming out soon. I think it's Netflix. But basically, they're like cosmic entities, that seven cosmic entities that existed before, um, well, before the universe did. Sandman is obviously dreams, Death, the name's self-explanatory, Destiny, well, pretty much the same. Oh, can I remember all seven? It's not relevant to this anyway. Destruction, Delirium. Nope, can't remember all seven. But there's this sense of bigness, something that appears small and innocent and innocuous, but has loads under the surface. This is again backed up by this yin yang card, which says a lot of the changes that are occurring right now are under the surface. But with that card matched with the journey card, with that into the unknown, with the fact that you do have options and you're well aware of the options, this guidance that you've received isn't necessarily, I mean, there may well be a call to a specific place. But I feel it's more of a call away from where you are at the moment. And the call to a specific place, there's more than one specific place calling to you. But the interestingly, yes, you have to give up on a dream by answering this call, by listening to your guidance, by going for it. But it's going to work well. We've got the comet card here, and I'm not saying comets as harbingers of death and destruction. You know, that is the equivalent of the star card. So there's a wonderful, maybe a little perilous, but a wonderful journey coming ahead of you. And here we have the Eight of Cups. Now on this deck, Eight of Submersibles, and you can see that it's a submarine hightailing it away from an explosion. So it's not just a dream that has been abandoned in that particular Eight of Submersibles. It has been a get the hell on out of there before it all goes horribly wrong sort of situation. And with this slow and steady, and with from the Angel Area, we have Netza, endurance, which is saying, okay, yeah, things are tough at the minute. Guess what? They're going to stay that way for a while. On that level, you've hit the rock bottom, but you've hit the rock bottom because you've got down to the foundations of something. And I think what you found is that those foundations are not particularly, I'm not going to say they're not stable, they're perfectly stable, but they're just not what you want. And that's part of the guidance, part of the bit that hurts, because you thought it was one thing and you found out it's something completely different. And you don't want to give up on the old idea. But Seven of the Leviathan. Someone is saying that you can put the work into this to change things. Yes, you can. But not the thing that you're on at the moment. It has to be a new thing. There is an encouraging voice near you, but there is also that sense of something that has been left untended and hidden, that is maybe these foundations that as it's just not, it's like that harvest that hasn't been, crop that hasn't been tended, so gives a paltry harvest. Whereas the Seven of Leviathans is rather hinting that someone's saying, look, try the new thing. Because you look, this is like one massive, huge tank type thing, hidden in a warehouse hangar that this guy at the front of the card is just discovering. So there is something new. There's plenty of, and I'm linking these because 7, 7. So 7 of submersibles, 7 of cups, lots of options. And it's saying explore. You're going to find some hidden treasure or buried treasure, or in this case, sunken treasure, or a sunken Mayan city, it looks like, But explore, take the options, but you have to take a new option and be creative with it. So this current dream that you're upset that you've got to abandon, absolutely. And there is a hint of get out of there before it all blows up. That's what this 8 of cups here is saying, because we could have the chariot there, or we could have the 8 of wands there. You know what I mean? That could show that movement. And finally, we have Hermia with ritual and ceremony, and then Halthas with falsehood. And I think what that is saying is the process that you have been going through recently has uncovered some falsehood, but I don't want to say it's a lie, or that someone has actively deceived you. It's like false assumptions, false first principles that possibly everybody had been working from, and now it's come to light that, hang on a minute, this thing that we all thought was true, not true, or not quite like that, or we've misinterpreted it. So whatever this guidance is, now the thing is, on the bottom of the deck, I want to point out we've got 9 of submersibles, which of course is 9 of cups. There is wish fulfillment coming here. So whatever it is that you're having to let go of, it's a weird vibe, that, because it's almost you let go of this one dream and start looking at something else. The something else goes well, and by the something else going well, you are able to achieve whatever it was that you were looking for in this situation. That's the feeling that I get. Because the other thing with that 4 of submersibles, there's the sense of guidance, but there's also, you would think that that's the captain of the submarine. But if you look really closely, he's actually playing on a pipe organ. It's like, well, what that springs to mind is a Superman story back in Grant Morrison, this time, back in 2010-ish. Was it Final Crisis? But anyway, there's this ship that can go between realities, but it's powered by music, and that it's allow the rhythm and allow the tune that you are hearing, i.e. the guidance that is coming through, to guide you. It's going to lead you to a good place. You can't necessarily see where you're going, but you do know that there are plenty of options. So explore all of those options, because there's some hidden treasures. Most of the changes right now around you are happening under the surface. That's in regards to the new stuff coming in, and in regards to this dream you've got to give up. But there is certainly, you've had that guidance, give up on that old situation and get help before it all blows up. Which, for dramatic effect, I think that's what I'm going to call the reading. Because the scarier reading titles always seem to get a good response. So, I'm not above a little bit of blatant self-promotion here. But I really feel good about this, because starting that movement, it's not going to be fast. We've got that slow and steady card. Starting that movement is going to get you to a far better place. And this is what this comet is telling me. But I suppose the get out before it all blows up aspect, you can take the comet as the harbinger of death and destruction. But more to the point, it's the star card. It indicates wish fulfillment, especially since on the bottom of the deck, we've got the other wish fulfillment card, the main wish fulfillment card, the Nine of Cups, Nine of Submersibles. So all in all, that's a good reading. It's a good reading if you, whatever realization it is that you've just had, that's along the lines of, yeah, I need to move on. Yeah, you need to move on. Absolutely. And the weird thing is, by moving on, you'll get what it is that you're worried about abandoning here. Okay, so if that means anything to you, Virgo, please do comment down below, because it's always good to know that these readings have reached the ears of the person that they're intended for. You don't have to tell me all the ins and outs. It's YouTube. It's a public forum. You won't want to do that. But go and watch your moon and your rising signs. There'll be a timestamp in the description. And then, of course, there's a link down there for the show with David. So, yeah, otherwise, I'll see you at the full moon. Cheers.